This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, and the stories that leads today's show are Equifax at it again. We're going to talk about choices when you cut the cord. We're going to cover how Comcast is causing non-Comcast cable company prices to go up, about a new DJI drone tracking initiative, and we're going to talk about Amazon's Alexa device that knows the family, plus, of course, all the news of the day. I want to welcome you to episode 1231 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, October 12th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Of course, great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider or simply paypal.me/geeknews. You can pick up Ohana gear, kind of like this International Podcast Day mug at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Of course, I want to welcome new listeners to the show. Thanks for being here. Been gone for 3 shows. We've missed 3 episodes because I've been out. Thank you for being patient. When it's now officially the 13th anniversary, and basically we started this show at like October 9th of 2004. It is now October 12th, so we're officially 13 years plus podcasting this particular podcast. So, wow, it's been a fun ride, and we're going to continue to crank things out. But it's just amazing where we're at and how many years we've been doing the show together. And when I say we, I'm talking about everyone that's part of this listening audience. So, if you're brand new, welcome to the Ohana, and of course, all of our longtime listeners, subscribers, people that watch the show, however you consume the content, wherever it may be, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, whether it be on an Android device, whether it be anywhere that you listen to this show via streaming. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Ohana. Of course, we want you to visit geeknewscentral.com on a daily basis. And when you do that, that's going to get you connected up with everything that's going on with the show. It's going to get you, locked in over there. And there's a place to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Android, via email, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, use an old school RSS feed. And of course, you can scroll down and get signed up for the newsletter as well. The writing team has been busy putting out all kinds of great content. I even dropped the product review in there myself a couple of days ago. But again, get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content on the website. You can reach me via email at geeknews@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at geeknews. Of course, one of you asked to be added to the Slack channel, and I haven't got you added yet, so I'll get you added. And if you want to be part of the Slack channel, all you got to do is email me here, and I'll get you added to the Slack channel so that you can participate with the rest of the Ohana. You can follow on Google Plus or on Facebook. You can watch this show on the Roku, on the Apple TV, on the Amazon Echo by telling Alexa to play the latest edition of the Geek News Central podcast. You can listen on Stitcher, watch on Blueberry, or listen on Blueberry.com. You can tell your Google Home device to play the podcast Geek News Central as well. Partner shows include No Better Than Average with Jacob and Jeff, the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site being written by my GNC team, and of course, the new media show, Rob Greenlee and I do that. And then Podcast Legends. If I ever get another episode recorded, it'll be a miracle. But of course, this would not be possible. And really, everything I do in the podcasting space, as far as this show goes, would not be possible without our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. We want you to take a visit over there. Go over to geekandcentral.com/GoDaddy. Definitely check out the October specials. And, what it is 30% off of new product purchases, 99cent.com new domains, $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain for the first year, $1 a month managed WordPress hosting with a free email account for the first year. Again, free domain, worth $8.49. So you subtract that from the $12 you're going to spend, you're way ahead. And of course, 1 month free of the GoDaddy website builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. All those links, all those promo codes are at geeknewscentral.com. Use the promo code at checkout, or just click the link and it'll take you to GoDaddy and you'll lock in your savings directly. But we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here of the podcast, keeping the lights on, allowing me to do what I do in entertaining you and bringing great shows to you. But again, thanks for being here. Hey, we've got a new chat room at live.geeknewscentral.com. We have the YouTube version of this podcast live at live.geeknewscentral.com. New chat room, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's $25 a month though. It's called Chat Roll, and it works really slick. Well worth the price. I'm telling you, if you're a web dev, you make a cool chat room. You can make some money. You really, really can. Okay, so let me get you caught up on what's been happening here. I flew out. Well, since we were last together, International Podcast Day went down. I was heavily involved in that. Of course, the Podcast Awards, we announced the Podcast Awards winners. We're about ready to order the trophies. So that's going to be going on next week. And then, immediately following the Podcast Awards, I basically got the studio wrapped up. And then Monday morning, um, relatively early, straight to the airport. And flew into San Francisco, had a short layover, San Francisco, Chicago to Detroit. I went and met with the Monday morning with the Podcast Detroit team. And actually, it was in the early afternoon. Had lunch, and then I drove over to Jacobs Media and had a meeting with them for about an hour. Then, essentially, I went to another destination for 3 days and had a series of meetings, very eventful, very well. All I can really say at this point was the forthcoming information, but 3 days of that, and then spent time. Then I went to my mom's and visited her and my sister, and was there Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday morning went back to the airport to fly home, and was going Detroit, Denver, Honolulu. Got into Denver and it was snowing. I was just like, whoa. And so essentially, we got iced up. So we sat for 90 minutes. It took them 90 minutes to de-ice a 777. They ran out of fluid. This was their first go-round this year, so they were slow. But finally got out of there, got into Honolulu late, and it's just been full throttle all week. 4:30 a.m. wake-up calls every day this week, with just go, 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 stuff with the kids, stuff with business, stuff with, you just name it, there's stuff going on. And the best part is, ladies and gentlemen, is I got back and I stepped on the scale and I was only up 3 pounds. So I was at 188. Got back from the gym this evening. I was at 186 and a half. So over the weekend, I'll get back down to 185. And then we're going to start the hardcore march between now and Thanksgiving to lose the additional 10 pounds to get to 175 by the day before Thanksgiving. So the goal is 175 the day before Thanksgiving. I know I can do it. It's just, but the next 6 weeks, I've got lots of stuff going on. So I'm going to really make a dedicated effort to get to the gym and make sure I eat right. But I'm home, so that should not be an issue. But anyway, I just want to kind of catch you guys up on what's going on. Thanks for being patient and letting me be out. Kirk, he thought I was ready to do a show Monday. He had a show prep for me, and I got back in to Honolulu later than I expected, so there was just really no way I could do a show. I was zombieized anyway. So I'm glad to be back and home until I don't, as far as I know, I'm not going anywhere until I leave for the Consumer Electronics Show after the New Year. So you've got me. I'm here. I'm locked in, and we'll be doing shows Monday and Thursday night on schedule without a miss. So anyway, that's what's going on. But I will say that I ordered some beacons. We've been talking about the beacons for a while, right? I ordered some beacons from a Chinese company, Shenzhen Minyu Tech Company Limited, and got the beacons. And they, as advertised, were 6 channel beacons. I got some long range beacons. I got a short range beacon, and these are Bluetooth beacons. We've been talking about it on the show a little bit. Well, got their app, figured out how to turn them on, how to put them in configuration mode, figured out the password, got into them, got them figured for Eddystone, did everything I thought I was locked in, and thinking, man, $12 with the equivalent value of $60 from using from another company, I'm golden. And I went to authenticate them with Google, and the Google app kept crashing to authenticate them. And I couldn't, that's right, on the Android device. The Google Authentication app kept crashing. So I sent a Skype message to my salesperson there at Minew, Minew, and I said, "What is the deal? What's wrong?" And she said, "Oh, you can't." I'm like, "What do you mean I can't?" She says, "You have to configure them with the app. You can't authenticate, and you have to update them with the app. You can't do it via the Google Beacon API." Sorry, I don't know how to help with that yet. Okay, thank you. Uh, my brain freaking exploded. Apparently, they have some sort of encryption in it. So I've been going back and forth over the past 2 or 3 days, livid with this company. I'm like, you got the perfect, absolute perfect product, and yet you did something stupid by trying to limit how, because my goal is to have 1,000 of these spread throughout the United States with clients and businesses doing what they do. And I told her, I said, these are going to be somewhere else. I have to be able to use the Google API and how it works to update the messages in these beacons. Well, they quit talking to me yesterday. So there's been no response. And so I'm about ready to do what Todd does best and write an extensive blog post about how these beacons don't work. Now, I know we've been talking about it a lot. I have a bag of 50 from the other vendor, so I'm prepared. But this was kind of like it was going to be a huge, 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 huge issue, and but this doesn't work because I can't basically authenticate them with Google. So, what kind of message are you sending out? Yes, Mike, they won't work on iPhone. I agree, unless you have the Chrome app loaded. But these are Eddystones. These do everything, um, but they do not work with. And it's a notification message, 40 characters with leads to an HTTPS. They had huge success with the other beacons that look like, for anybody that's watching, that look like this tiny little beacon. And so I've had lots of luck with these, but this sends a single message. I would never want to program these with 6 messages, but I would want to be able to have maybe 2 messages on it. So, it's just going to cost a little more to deploy. Um, these would have been perfect. Now, we'll see if they pull their heads out of their butts and fix and give me a firmware update for these so I can validate them. I think what it is they rushed this to me and said we're going to load the new firmware on it. I don't think they want to admit it, but I don't think they knew that there was a bug. But you already have a password, 8-digit password to unlock these. So anyway, it is what it is. We'll continue on here. But oh, you like the shirt? Yeah, it is nice. Yeah, does it make you? Please don't have a seizure because of it. But anyway, that's a saga. Now I've got beacons with my developer friend, and he's testing, and we're trying to figure out how to make this all work so that we can have a portal where friends of mine can sign up and we can do a little fun with these, have a little business. So that work is in progress, and matter of fact, I need to talk to him in the next day or so and find out where he's at. But anyway, that's the Beacon saga. And I know a few of you have been following the show specifically to find out what's going on, but these don't work. They've got other beacons that do. And she said, "Oh, I should have sent you the other ones." I'm like, "I wanted the 6 channel ones. You didn't tell me I couldn't update them with the Google API." But anyway, enough is enough. I've got lots of stuff to share with you tonight in the show notes. Kirk did a great job getting the show put together. And but first thing in the news is, Equifax. My God, what is their problem? The Equifax website borked again, this time to redirect to a fake Flash update page. And this is reported by Ars Technica. Equifax is denying that they have an issue. But this guy is an independent security analysis by day, and he said, "You got another problem, Equifax." They even lost their contract with the IRS. The IRS canceled or suspended a multi-million-dollar contract because basically their stuff's jacked. I guess that's what happens when you have your person that's supposed to be security, who has a degree in music, a master's degree in music. That's exactly the person you want running your security division for one of the companies that can never ever be hacked, which was. Now, more good news on the Equifax hack. There was 11 million driver's licenses that were shared. So you just gotta love it. Those in Britain, 15.2 million people in Britain. You folks got your accounts hacked as well, and so that's huge, 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 huge. And again, I think the only solution for Equifax is to become extinct and for them to go away. That is the only good outcome at this point when it comes to that company and the loss of trust with the public. And I really believe that anyone that has that level of data and they can't protect it, again, I'm still on record saying that they just need to go extinct, go out of business. Cord cutting, lots of options out there. So some of you have YouTube TV available. All of you could get a Sling TV. Some of you could use the PS View Core, $45 a month, or you could use Hulu with live TV. There's some options. I'd love to hear from you, geeknews@gmail.com. What are you doing to get your TV fix? What services are you using to get stuff that's not just movies? It's just stuff that's, the regular TV series that are good. And what is your bill comparison at this point? Now, how much are you spending a month for these onesie twosies for HBO, for Cinemax, for CBS, for Hulu? What are you spending across the board? I'd love to hear from you on that. Drop me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. If you aren't cord cutted yet, maybe it's time. Because, Mike, there's not a fact for the beacons yet. I'll be creating a private video I'm going to be sharing with people soon. Comcast is causing prices to go up on small cable companies because they're demanding higher prices for their specific TV programming that they own. Comcast owns a lot of regional sports networks that are marketed under the brand Comcast NBC subsidiary. Comcast wants to redefine the so-called minimum penetration policy, essentially making it possible for small cable companies to sell a cheap basic tier of TV service that doesn't include higher price channels. So the American Cable Association believes it's no coincidence that programmers adopting a very restrictive policy, working with Comcast NBCU, is basically causing because they're effectively forcing the prices up on these providers because um, they control the content. So Comcast demand and how this packaging is working makes basic tier TV unviable for these smaller networks. And Comcast doesn't want to exclude basic tier subscribers from minimum penetration policies, and because they basically withhold these other channels that they want that they would normally provide in a basic tier. So, yep, Comcast. You have nothing really good to say about them ever. They've become kind of like the AT&T punching bag recently, haven't they? All right, that Amazon Alexa device, which I'm trying to prevent triggering in your homes right now. It can now recognize your family's voices. So it has the ability to recognize different people by voice alone. This means you and your family can all have separate interactions with the digital assistant. This is a pretty big deal for big families whose members all have different needs. My daughter, she thinks she has to yell at the Amazon device. And I tell her, you can just speak normally. The device can hear you. You don't have to yell. And it always ends up being the volume goes up as the device doesn't understand. It's kind of like, you're talking to your kids and you tell them something one time, and then you tell them something again, and then you tell them something a fourth time, and oh, oh, that's interesting. We'll have to talk, Ryan. I'm getting a private message here. It'll just report that if you are registering for Google as the health. Okay. I guess we'll have to chat later. But yeah, this device cannot be seen by the Google Beacon device. You're right. It sees them, but it crashes. Okay. Um. So anyway, Alexa can hear each family member, and like I was saying, when you talk to your kids, your voice gets higher and higher when you explain stuff third or fourth or fifth time. Sometimes that happens with our spouses too, right? We talk a little bit about DJI drone tracking. DJI has unveiled the UAV traffic tracking system. This move is to preemptively appease regulators such as the UK Civil Aviation Authority, the EU's EASA, and the United States FAA. Countries ask for a new way to ID drones remotely while they're flying and to find the operator of the drone. As we have with other safety or security concerns, we have developed tech that does that well in advance of the rules and regs that would require it. It's called Aeroscope. It will operate at the 2.4 gig and 5.8 gig Wi-Fi band and broadcast, get this, broadcast each drone's position, altitude, direction, and speed, make and model serial number, and any additional ID info that the pilot wants to provide. Bum, bum, bum. DJI's policy VP told us this afternoon, this was over at the register, that the additional ID info could include things such as the drone's registration number, if that was a requirement, or contact details for the pilot if he wanted to include that. Now, here's the deal. Here in Hawaii, it is really hard for me to fly my drone and not be within 5 miles of an airport. I mean, it is really hard. Uh, because we got so many airports and I'm on an island, right? Can't run from it. So this movement is going to be similar to TCAS or ADS-B. And for those of you in the aviation, you know what that is. But basically, they want an ability to have these drones call home to mama. So drone operators, beware out there that if a airport is running one of these receivers, they're going to be able to ping your drone from 5 kilometers away. So they're going to know if you're flying. And you remember what the fine is, right? It's like $27,000 to fly a drone within a 5 mile radius of an airfield. So just be aware that this may be their way to sweeten the coffers a little bit. All right. AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon are waiving fees for those affected by the California wildfires. And if any of our Ohana or Northern California where these fires are at, heart goes out to you. It's just devastating, and lots of homes being burnt, loss of lives. Not good, not good at all. Although there are some apps out there, and these are not fire related. I'm rolling over my cable here. This happens once in a while, and this is the earphone cable. Did I get it loose? There we go. Um, these are 10 handy iPhone apps that you may not be aware of. And the one that I saw um, in this list was something called Overdrive. It's a it's an essential app for bookworms. It's based in the U.S. By registering an account and adding a valid library card, you can borrow digital copies of a whole host ebooks and audiobooks. There's even film and television content that you can stream via the app as well. So that's very, very cool because I'm a prolific reader right now. And for those of you with, how should we say it, irritable bowel syndrome, I think that's what they call that, there's an app called Flush. And, we've all been there. We've been in an unfamiliar place, and all of a sudden the stomach goes gurgle, 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 and you need a bathroom. Well, just load up Flush, and it tells you the location of a toilet that is public accessible. Awesome. Um, there's a few more here that are available too. Cam Scanner. It's a digital scanner, cheaper than ever before. So that's pretty cool. So again, lots of cool stuff. And if you're going out with a bunch of friends for a meal, there's something called Tab. And so basically, it's a way to divvy up the bill and make sure everyone pays their fair share. There's always one person, right, that you're always looking at because they didn't throw you. They should throw you another fiver or tenner, and oh, I paid my share, and you're looking down like, dude, you had 5 beers and an entree and a dessert, and your total's 45, and you only gave me 35. Yeah, we all have that one person, right? Anyway, some cool apps here. Hey, a Chinese startup 8K VR headset is surprisingly advanced. The Pimax 8K high resolution, 200-degree field of view makes other headsets feel so kind of old. This thing's gotten huge reviews and kind of come out of nowhere here. And good write up on this. So those of you that are into the VR stuff at this point, the Chinese are on the march here. The Pimax 8K high resolution 200-degree field of view headset. So it doesn't say what it's going to cost. Oh, it's got an incredible 7680 by 2160. Is there a price tag? I don't see one. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes. Bitcoin, and we talked about Bitcoin on this show. Please tell me, for God's sake, that when we talked about Bitcoins, when they were like $30, that you bought some. Please, please, please tell me that you did. We were talking about Bitcoin a lot on this show in the early days when Bitcoin first came out. If you did, and I did, the Bitcoins have surged above $5,000. Where does this stop? Now, if you think about this, this is, holy cow, amazing. if you bought some, go get your, where did you store it? What kind of a hard drive, or what kind of a, USB stick, or where did you stick them? Where did you stick you know, the the key? Where did you stick that? $5,000 of Bitcoin. Need some cash? It might be time. It might be time. And hmm, I know a guy. He listened to the show. He started his own. He's mining bitcoins right now. He's building machines, and wherever he's at, he gets free electricity. I'd like to be sign up for that deal. Um, he's gonna run a bunch of machines. So I'm curious to see how he does and how long how much money they make. But with it $5,000 of Bitcoin, that's a lot of electricity for a mining machine. Have you guys heard about Movies Anywhere? Movies Anywhere will merge your iTunes, Google, Vudu, and Amazon libraries. And there's some instructions on how to do it on techhive.com. The 95% of the movies I have actually purchased, and I've actually been buying more movies recently, and you're all going to cringe. It's on the Apple TV. And reason, well, on the uh, the Apple app. The reason is because when I'm flying, I've been watching um, on my iPad, and it's just convenient. So, I've been buying some series, some older movies I haven't watched, and if you keep your eyes peeled over there, they have deals going on in sales every once in a while. Sometimes dollar movies too. All right, this week the U.S. is taking, or actually next week, the USA is taking on Japan in a giant robot duel. You can watch it live next week. If you've forgotten about the big battle that happened in 2015, well, next Tuesday, October 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific, the duel will be finally streamed on Twitch. And I'm looking at this mech robot they've got. And let's see if I can bring this up here. So those of you who watch, this thing looks awesome. I don't think it shoots any bullets, but it's sturdy enough. I think it could. Let me wait for this. The Verge is going to try to sell me something here by putting a big fat ad on the page. All the ads first, and then the video content comes last. So I want to show you this embed. Come on, give me a break. All right, it's finally coming. All right, so here it is. And that thing is awesome. Here's another picture. I guess this is another one, smaller one. Oh, wow. We got a chainsaw and a hydraulic. Oh, cool. So anyway, these folks are, I guess there's going to be a battle to the death. I see a lot of hydraulic lines on there. Hey, fellas, let me tell you about hydraulics and hydraulics under pressure and stuff crashing into it. That's instant death. All right, you got to get the hydraulic lines protected. You can't just have them hanging out there and out for the public view to see. It'd be interesting to see what kind of rules they have because they have definitely spent some serious cash on this. And this whole thing is it's going to be expensive. At least it was a lot of money to build it. It looks like Waymo is just got a settlement demand from Uber. $1 billion. They want no. Waymo's staggering settlement demand for Uber was $1 billion. They're asking for $1 billion in damages, and they want a public apology. Well, Uber rejected it. Not surprising. Hey, do you fly in Delta Airlines? Delta will automatically check you in with its mobile app now. And if you're flying Delta and you aren't using their app, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. With this auto check in system, if you are last to check in, you'll be first to get bumped. So don't delay in checking in for any flight. Once you're 24 hours out, always check in. California's announced some serious new rules or some draft rules on the driverless car industry. Yes, driverless. And the new rules are subject to a 15-day public comment period. Talk about the type of insurance they have to cover, the different types of things that they're going to have to, regulations they're going to have to meet in order to have, a fully autonomous car on the street. So we would expect, or they expect, this to go through by the end of the year, and we could see, um, I don't know, this year or next year. Let me look. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, maybe this year. By the end of this year, we could see, or early next year, we could see fully driverless vehicles. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to be driven around by a vehicle with no person in it? Hmm. Next taxi cab could be that case. 50 years later, the Apollo 11 command module still dazzles. And if you've been anywhere to see any of the Apollo era stuff, there's a really awesome exhibit at near the Johnson Space Center where you can see the Apollo 11 capsule and exhibit the Apollo 17 capsules. Both vehicles are on display, and they got a bunch of cool pictures. Of course, no paint on the on the capsules because the paint gets burned off on reentry. But pretty awesome, pretty awesome display if you're in the. But it's going to be moving around. Oh, it's not going to be visiting all states, but it's going to be in Houston, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. So if you're in those areas, but until March, you can go to the Johnson Space Center and take a tour and see it. All right, link will be up in the show notes on that. NASA is talking about how they track carbon emissions from space to better understand and deal with climate change. But more importantly, NASA is also looking into how it can keep Yellowstone from blowing up. And there was a new report out today, and I don't have the link for you, sorry, that they feel that from the time Yellowstone starts to build pressure, the time it goes boom and ends life as we know it in the United States, is much shorter in years than what they thought originally. So NASA's trying to figure out a way to essentially um, cool the mantle. Now, it sounds crazy, but what happens now is in Yellowstone, the water itself actually reduces the heat about 15% um, near the top of where the mantle is. You've got lava below it. And they think, this is the prediction, that they can pump, for about $3 billion, they can pump cold water. Basically to cool the mantle even more and then use the resulting superheated steam to drive a power generation plant. So they're looking at ways to kind of slow down the process. Now, I don't know how you're going to slow Mother Nature down. And it'll probably be 300 billion before it's over. But if you think about a foot of ash across the entire United States, I think that's probably a cheap price to pay to make it happen. But anyway, um, hopefully not in our lifetimes or hopefully it's like 100,000 years from now. But you never know. We're already on the clock with Yellowstone. ISPs, they don't want to tell the FCC exactly where they offer internet service. Well, if they don't, why don't the FCC set up a reporting system so where we can all tell them what's available and where the cable provider's servicing? They want to know the the edges of their networks. They know their general operating areas, but they need to know how far out the edges are. There's no requirement for them to report that, but the FCC wants them to do this. The commission is using what's called a Form 77 to collect deployment data. But the company says, oh, it's going to cost us a bunch of money to put this together. Well, maybe we ought to see just how little of an area these cable providers are providing. Richard Branson and Virgin joined forces. He's invested money in the Hyperloop One, and the company will rebrand itself as the Virgin Hyperloop One in the near future. So he must have wrote a pretty big check to get the rename. I guess those of you that live in England are not super happy with the Virgin trains. I'm not at all familiar with those. Someone that lives in Europe, please tell me specifically between London and Edinburgh what these Virgin trains are. I have no clue what that's all about. Plex Live TV service is launched for the Roku, so this might be another option for you to cut the cord if you've got a Roku and you sign up for Plex Live TV. So we'll have to take a look at what they have to offer. Do you uh, do you shop at Target? I'll be honest with you. There's a Target here in Hawaii. I've been in it twice, maybe three times. I think one time was to track down my wife. I don't shop at Target, but Target has been testing Google Express service in California and New York City. Now the service is expanding nationwide. Starting today, you can use Google same-day home delivery service at Targets all across the United States, but of course not Alaska or Hawaii. You can also use Google Assistant to shop with your voice. It's coming soon to be eligible Android and iPhone devices. So anyway, if you're a Target fan, you can just shop with your phone. One thing that was interesting today is I had my Apple Watch on. I had came back from the workout. I was still in my workout clothes. I was going through the articles, doing show prep. I'd sat here about 10 minutes, and all of a sudden my phone beeped me and said, "Hey, your heart rate is elevated." And I looked at it, and it it was up to 120 beats a second. And I'm like, I've been sitting here 10 minutes. That should not be the case. So I kind of adjusted myself around and it came back down. So I don't know if it was the position I was sitting or what, but it was the first time I had gotten an alert like that from Apple. And be honest with you, it alarmed me, but I appreciated it. It appears now that Apple may be expanding on its health related feature. A new patent application has been discovered that suggests the company's been looking into automatic blood pressure monitoring functionality. The patent details an alert would be triggered by parameters that the user set or by data that has been collected by wearable sensors on devices like the Apple Watch. So this is cool. It doesn't detail the measurement triggers, but it details examination of blood pressure readings alongside other data. So if I can get a blood pressure update from time to time without having to do anything or having to wear a cuff or something like that, that's a pretty big deal. Facebook Stories. I don't think any of you are using them. You know, Spotify was the one that kind of really did well with stories, but Facebook Stories is open pages to bring brands to the ghost town. I think of all the people I follow on Facebook, 4 or 5 people do stories. I just don't need stories from brands I follow, but I'm sure we're going to start seeing those in our feed soon. You know, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I connect with a lot of business people over there. I do scrutinize who I link up with, but LinkedIn is going to add autoplay ads to your professional network. Now, let me tell you something. I pay for the Premier service with LinkedIn. I think it costs me $200 or $250 a year for the Premier account. If they start dropping ads into what I pay for, I'll cancel. I'm serious. The first ad I see linked in the area of the professional where they drop it and they run an ad, I'm done. I'll cancel. Yeah, I'll still use LinkedIn, but I will not pay for it no more. They better not drop an autoplay ad on my page that I'm viewing. Twitter apparently got a little heat today, and Rose McGowan, who yesterday was tweeting about my nose is running. I'm sorry. Tonight it's the other nose. Last week it was the right nose. Tonight it's the left nose. Why I have no idea. But Rose McGowan had been tweeting about the allegations of sexual abuse and harassment which had been surfacing against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. And wow, what a disgusting story, right? But apparently, they suspended her account for a little bit because she published an unlisted telephone number. And then she came back complaining about the president's tweeting and some other stuff when they turned their account on. But what was weird was Twitter's safety actually said why they suspended her account. And it's the policy of Twitter not to actually do that. So I thought that was pretty incredible. They must have been under a lot of pressure. And maybe they were like, okay, we need, we have to follow procedure and shut our account down for, whatever time it was. But people could take this as it were supporting this abuser, the sexual abuse and harassment by this gentleman, or we wouldn't even call him a gentleman, by Harvey Weinstein. And but anyway, it was interesting that Twitter actually publicized why her account got suspended. Of course, there's a lot of cities that are looking to capture Amazon's new headquarters. Detroit's one of them, and I wish them the best of luck. Kansas City, Missouri is another, but apparently the mayor there bought 1,000 Amazon products, and he's going to review all 1,000 products in a bid for the company's new headquarters, and he's given all this stuff away. It's a charity situation. And anyway, he bought 1,000 items on Amazon, had them shipped in. He's going to write a review for everyone. Got to give him dedication for trying to make that happen. Yeah, but I hope Detroit wins. Google has announced a 1 billion job training. Again, I'll say that again. Google announces $1 billion in job training and education program. Google CEO Sundar Pichai was in Pittsburgh Wednesday and announced the new 5-year $1 billion program to help close the global education gap. Part of the program was a new Grow with Google program to work with U.S. cities, as well as a $10 million grant to Goodwill that will see Google employees working with the nonprofit to train people in digital skills. So some of the efforts is to grow. Anyway, I just have the link up here. But nice to see them investing $1 billion in job training. I'd like to see a little more detail on that for sure. iPhone X suppliers still struggling with 3D recognition sensors. So, Apple's going to start taking pre-orders on October 27th, and it will be delivered on November 3rd. So some people probably will be waiting for a long time. Tesla is recalling 11,000 Model X cars due to seat cables. So they've got an issue that they say they could break during a crash, and this has got to be fixed. So this is a big one. So if you've got a Model X Tesla, get it, see if it's on the recall list. If you're riding with Lyft, you're no longer going to have to switch. And I've seen them switch before. I've been with a Lyft driver where they went from one app to the other, or one map to the other, and it's so what Lyft has done is they knew this was an issue. Lyft has added built-in Google Maps navigation to its driver app, so no more switching, no more. The drivers will have a much better time concentrating on driving instead of manipulating the map on the phone. If you're a Hyatt hotel customer, yes, malware did check into Hyatt hotels and checked out months later with victims' credit cards. So, in a statement today, chain admitted that between March 18th and July 2nd, 41 of its hotels in a dozen countries were infiltrated by a software nasty. And the chain said it can't tell exactly whose card data was slurped. So, if you're a Hyatt customer, just be aware it probably was slurped. There's a cool video on Engadget from a experimental drone called the Spider Mob. This drone shoots webs at walls to be able to perch in place and to stabilize. It's a pretty cool video, and it just shows you what could be possible with drones that are trying to deliver something to a house or something like that. This is just a way to stabilize them in wind conditions or Um, Maybe store the drone. I'm not kidding. Link will be up in the show notes. Watch the video. It's pretty cool. For those of you that can't decide between the Sony Xperia XZ1 and the Samsung Galaxy S8, there's a review from AndroidHeadlines.com. I'll have that link up in the show notes. I'll be honest with you. After touching the Samsung Galaxy S8, what a phone. It's beautiful. But I heard some of you are having texting troubles with your Note, your S8 Note. If you're one of those, it's a known issue. I can't say that I ever played ping pong with anyone that had any skills. Of course, I have no eye-hand coordination as well. So if someone played ping pong with me, they would get very frustrated because I'd be chasing the ball down. Well, there's an artificial intelligence robot will strengthen your ping pong skills. They've actually got a robot that will play ping pong, ping pong with you, and it's pretty good. So I'll have the link up in the show notes. So looks like a rich man's toy, but it's cool. A new version of iTunes brings back apps and ringtones. So if you missed those, they're coming back, and it's going to be iTunes 12. Wait a minute, your iTunes whatever, 26. Looks like 12.6.3 will support apps and ringtones. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes. There's some Wirecutter deals from Engadget. Nikon Coolpix B700 Super Zoom drops to $350. And what else is in this list? They've got all-key USB to USB 3.0 adapter kits. They've got refurbished DJI drones for $300. So some deals here. Link will be up in the show notes near the bottom of the page. You can also get 63% off the 76-in-1 Precision tool set for smartphones, laptops, and electronics. I love these toolkits. I really do. I've got a couple of these. This one's $25. You can't go wrong with the price. So you have all the little special tools to basically take, and change the battery in your in your Mac or something to that effect. So anyway, or a hard drive or add RAM or whatever. So link will be up in the show notes. Let me see what I've got for comments today, because I know there's a few that came in. Let's see here. David, I got you on the list. I got an email from Darren. Darren, I got to get you added to the channel. That's going to happen. Also, I've got your notification you're interested in the beacons. Okay, Near, I know that I can't say a logarithm. Yes, I know. It's a tautism. It really, really is. Okay, so, sue me. Love you. Thanks for keeping it real and keeping me on my toes. All right, this can bring us to the end. Well, we did okay in time. Lots of stuff today too. So again, thanks for Kirk for putting the campaign together, or putting the show together tonight. And I added a few things as well. But for the audience that's been missing me, thank you for being patient. And I'm back, and we'll be back on schedule doing the shows. As you can tell, I'm still a little jet lagged. So, and plus I've just been, putting in massive hours, but working out. So hopefully, I'm around long enough then I can be able to do that as well without getting too punchy, which I already am tonight. I'm pretty punchy here at the end of the show. But anyone, thanks for being here. We'll be back with you on Monday for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. Email me geeknews@gmail.com. Support our sponsor, GoDaddy, by going to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And yes, beacon data to come to all of you that wanted it. I'll get some stuff together soon. All right, everyone, take care. We'll see you next time on the Geek News Central podcast. Take care. Aloha.